Hey there, pretty mama. Uh-huh. Does that sound like Elvis at all? My name is Movie Review Mom, and today I'm reviewing the movie Elvis. This is now playing in theaters and on streaming in some areas. The movie is PG-13, is 2 hours and 39 minutes long. That's a really long movie. The Movie Review Mom grade I'm giving it is a B+. So in a nutshell, the story is about Elvis from his childhood in Tupelo, Mississippi to his rise to stardom, starting in Memphis, Tennessee, and his conquering of Las Vegas, Nevada, which is where I live. So that was kind of fun to see in the movie. But anyway, Elvis Presley becomes the first rock and roll star and changes the world with his music. This very creative, imaginative film was co-written, produced, and directed by Baz Luhrmann. This is most definitely Warner Brother Pictures' early attempt at Oscar buzz, hoping to duplicate the popularity and successes of recent music biopics like Bohemian Rhapsody, Rocket Man, and even Judy. So there are a lot of things that I really liked about this movie. First of all, biopics often get Oscar buzz, so it was entirely appropriate for Austin Butler, who plays Elvis, to call Academy Award winner Rami Malek from Bohemian Rhapsody. You won an Oscar for that one, to get some tips on how to respectfully portray a legendary musician on the big screen. Fun fact number one, Harry Styles and Miles Teller auditioned for the part of Elvis. So I think it's interesting that Austin Butler got it because those are big names and I had never seen him in anything before. His audition apparently really caught the director's attention because it featured him singing Unchained Melody with incredible emotion because he sang it to his mother who had passed away. Austin Butler and Elvis Presley are actually 16th cousins twice removed. So that's kind of cool. Tom Hanks also stars in the movie, and his physical transformation as Colonel Tom Parker is very impressive in the film. He truly understands how to create a compelling movie that features a biography, but also spotlights the emotions of the music and the culture of the day. As always, he's incredible. Tom Hanks's character in the movie Forrest Gump actually got to meet Elvis Presley. And Tom Hanks's son in real life, Colin Hanks, also starred in a movie called Elvis and Nixon in 2016. So we get to hear a lot of really good music, of course. Unfortunately, though, they're just short clips. We never really get to hear an entire song until the very end of the movie when we see old real footage of Elvis singing his very last performance. What's strange is that we hear a lot of Elvis's songs and his big hits sung by other artists, but that's part of the history. It just was surprising, I guess. You might learn some details about Elvis that you didn't know previously. For example, he really did keep a Derringer pistol in his boot during his Las Vegas shows because of death threats. Unfortunately, there are many more events in the film that are totally inaccurate. For example, Elvis never fired Parker during a live concert in the International Hotel after Elvis discovered Parker's debts and dishonest business dealings. Fun fact number two, on the movie poster, we see the letters TCB inside the word Elvis, specifically on the V, to represent Take Care of Business, which was the name of the band that Elvis put together. The movie definitely includes the American culture that was happening at the time, especially the civil rights movement and as it was gearing up towards that in the 60s, and the tremendous influence that African-American music had on Elvis. Now, with all of that praise, here are just a few things that I didn't like or thought could have been done differently or better. First of all, the movie feels like a montage of moments, but not necessarily in chronological order. It kind of felt like a really long newsreel of Elvis's life. You need a fair amount of energy to watch this fast-paced movie that is loud and chaotic. I was kind of fatigued rather than energized after watching it. The problem with telling the story through the Colonel's narration is that the movie seems to be more about the Colonel rather than Elvis, which is an interesting approach for sure. But for people who really want to just dive into Elvis and focus on him, they might be a little disappointed. In reality, Elvis was a creation of both Elvis Presley and the Colonel. They made him and destroyed him together. Comic strip animation is used during this one sequence to provide explanations for background information. And it just didn't quite seem to fit with the style of the rest of the movie. That being said, the movie is very creative. And so I guess why not? There's so much yelling in the movie, and ultimately the rise and fall of Elvis Presley is a sad story. It felt like it spent more time showcasing the culture of the day rather than Elvis's personal life and story. While I liked Austin Butler, he just looked like an actor impersonating Elvis. Unlike Rami Malek, and his incredible performance where he practically transformed into Freddie Mercury in the movie Bohemian Rhapsody. I was just like, wow, I felt like I was watching Freddie Mercury, and I didn't really feel that with this performance. I thought he was good, but I wasn't blown away, apparently like everyone else is. Comment down below if you think the movie is a little overrated as well. The movie is long and it feels long. By the end, I was like, okay, let's get on with it. And that's not good. Despite the very creative storytelling, it still feels very formulaic, hitting the obligatory highs and lows, such as a loved one's death, marital woes and infidelity, rise to fame, and sad, melancholy ending, right? So let me give you some tips for parents. First of all, I think kids are going to be bored. Older adults who were caught in all of the excitement of Elvis and his rise to stardom are going to be interested just to see how the story is told in this movie. There's drinking, smoking, talk of drugs, infidelity, profanity. Some of the themes that are illustrated well are music, of course, unethical business practices, greed, control, and power, the price of fame, and infidelity, and other vices. So I always write down funny lines and interesting lines to kind of give you an idea and a feel for what the movie's all about. And I have them on my written review at moviereviewmom.com. So I'll just share a couple of the interesting lines with you right now. Colonel Tom Parker, played by Tom Hanks, who's very unscrupulous, says, "Every man has his price." And apparently we get to see what that price is in this movie. And then another line that he says is, "I didn't kill him, I made Elvis Presley." And again, because people gave him credit for creating this huge career for Elvis Presley, but then when he died, they blamed him for his death. Actually, I'll tell you another interesting line, also spoken by Colonel Tom Parker, played by Tom Hanks. And he says, "What is hate worth if it's free?" And I thought, I'm gonna have to think about that line for a little while. You'll have to see the context in the movie. Again, Tom Hanks just kills it in this role. So before we go, let me give you a recommendation for a couple of movies, 3 movies, in fact, that I immediately thought of. The first one is a movie by and with Tom Hanks called That Thing You Do. It's such a fun, lighthearted movie that also shows the rise to stardom and what happens in the music industry. Really fantastic. Another biopic that I thought of is Walk the Line. It was so well done, won an Academy Award for Reese Witherspoon. And I thought Joaquin Phoenix also should have received an award for that one. He was nominated, he just didn't win that year. And then a more recent one is Aretha, a movie all about Aretha Franklin. Some similar talking points and beats in the movie that are in this one, which is kind of why I said that it was formulaic. All good movies though. All right, that's it. I hope if you watch this that you enjoy it. And thank you so much, as always, for your support. I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.